Hey everybody, Dutch Sense here. 11:37 a.m. Central Time on Sunday, March 30th, 2014. And we're looking at Earthquake 3D again. This is my second earthquake update today. I want to show you guys what's happened just over the past few hours. I'm going to take this down and you'll see what I'm talking about here. Okay, this is just over the last 24 hours. And we'll take this down for the last 48 hours, and that'll show you Southern California as well. So you can see what's going on here. We have 3 cluster points along the western edge of the North American craton. Now, just in the past few hours, another 4.4 struck here in central Oklahoma. That's already on top of the 2 4.3s and multiple 3.0 earthquakes that struck over the past 24 hours in central Oklahoma. Also, Yellowstone, 4.8 originally started out as a 5.0, has since been downgraded to a 4.8. Additional 3.0s right down the list here. Again, that's in a swarm right inside of the Yellowstone National Park. 3.1 on the western edge of the magma chamber, just like we saw this previous week. And then you can see the swarm still occurring in Southern California as well. I'm going to go ahead and show you also the earthquakes now over the last 7 days in the same region. Again, you can see the multiple earthquakes here in Southern California. Maybe I should turn these down so you can see them a little better. You can see the multiple events where they are occurring. They're occurring along the edge of the North American craton. And I've put this diagram out here on my Facebook page. So this is the diagram for the North American craton. And you can see the edge here. It starts up in the Pacific Northwest and extends down here through Texas and then curls back up here to the northeast. Now let's look at the earthquakes over the last 7 days. And you'll see, starting up here in the Pacific Northwest, extending down across Colorado, down here through Oklahoma and Texas, back up here directly to the split in the crust in the northeast. And again, let's compare that. Comes down here through Colorado, right here, down through Texas, back up through Oklahoma, and then back up through the split. And that's where the earthquakes are occurring. The way they are occurring is from the west to the east, and that's turning everything on its head. Normally we're thinking about a mid-Atlantic rise spread. These have all happened after this huge cluster of activity over the last 2 weeks. Got to remember there was a 7.0 that occurred up here off of the northwest coast of California roughly 2 weeks ago. All this other activity down here to the south. In Baja, we also had multiple larger earthquakes occur over the last 2 weeks now. So it's been building and building. So look at the spots. We have 3 areas, again, 3 cluster points. Now let's turn this up to, let's say like 3.0 and greater. Okay, there we go. And you can see still, even with 3.0 and greater, so these are going to be earthquakes that could possibly be felt by people actually. They're not just little small earthquakes. They're all relatively shallow. The higher the earthquake is off of the globe, the deeper the earthquake. This is Earthquake 3D program. So you can see these are really shallow. Each one's happening just at a few miles deep, if not less. Some of them are very shallow. This lets you know, be aware along the edge of the North American craton, specifically now in silent areas where we haven't seen much movement. Some compensation is going to have to occur. This is a vast area that is being displaced. I cannot stress this enough at this point, that half of the plate over the last 24 hours has moved on at least a 4.0 scale from California eastward to Oklahoma, north to Yellowstone. Now compare that to the edge of the North American plate here, and you can see this entire area is being displaced. Literally. So we have to expect further movement along the edge of the plate, the hardened plate, the unsubducted plate, as it's pushed from this direction, this way to the east. Which means anywhere in this region here, unfortunately, I live in St. Louis. This means we need to be on alert in the New Madrid seismic zone and also going up the East Coast. I hate to have to give that watch because I live here. I have to have my own plans ready. I have to warn loved ones of the possibility that it could happen in the near-term future. Let's hope it doesn't. Always remember, guys, don't be scared. Be prepared. Just have a plan, be ready for it. If it never comes, you'll be lucky. But with this kind of buildup that's occurring, we have to be aware that it could occur. And it most likely will occur now in an area that's been silent recently. That could be the Pacific Northwest as well. Someone was asking me about the PNW. We have to watch up here in British Columbia, just north of Washington State, somewhere up here near the island. The reason we have to watch there is because of the previous movement that happened almost a year ago when the 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck right here, drained a bunch of hot springs and some other stuff. That was over a year ago. Haven't seen much sizable movement up here in the Pacific Northwest. And again, with all this activity that's happened over the last 7 days, you have to imagine that there's stress building also here to the northwest, at the northwest tip of the craton. So where this would come out up into Canada, we have to watch up here in this region here because of the other flurry of earthquakes happening all the way down the subduction zone. It's a large area to watch. It's a lot of movement to see in a short amount of time. So I wanted to make this update, let you guys know what's going on. This is on top of my previous update that I did earlier regarding the two 4.3s at the fracking operation in Oklahoma. So you guys, if you want to watch that, there'll be a link down below that. Also, on my website, got screenshots of all of it. Please have an earthquake plan ready. I know you've heard it all before, but now is go time. Now is time to dust it off, okay? Cheers.